Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode in our Creating a Discord chatbot with Python using Hikari series. First things first, I know this video has been due for a long time and I didn't upload it. I am very sorry for that wait. I can assure you I did not forget about this channel. I was just preoccupied with a lot of stuff, and maybe you will see some of it very soon. So, without wasting any more time, let's get right to today's topic, that is guild events. Today, we will be talking about guild events. So, the guild events comprises of mainly 6 events, and well, let's see what those are. I've written them down for you. So, let's just read through it. So, there are 6 guild events. There are guild join event, guild leave event, guild unavailable event, and guild available event, guild update event, and emojis update event. So, what are they and what all details do they give us? We'll talk about each one of them as we write the code for it. So, let's get started. I hope you all remember how we are supposed to write an event function. Well, if you don't, I'm here for you and I'm going to remind you just how we write that. First of all, we'll create a decorator that is at the rate bot dot listen, and then we'll add parentheses and write Hikari dot guild join event. Now we have created a decorator. What will we do next? We'll write the function for it. So we'll write async def and then the name for our function, that will be guild join event, and we'll add parentheses and colon, and we have made a function. And now I'll quickly write down all of the functions that we are going to talk about today, and I'll skip to the part where I've already written those down so that we can save some time, and I'll explain how they work and what do they do. Alright, so now I've written down all of those functions, all of those events. So now let's discuss what those events are, what they do, and what we get when we run such a event. Well, the first event is a guild join event. But now, what is a guild join event? So, as we know, guild is our server, and join event clearly means when our bot joins the server. So, guild join event is triggered when our bot joins a new server. So, let's try and understand what information does the bot pass us when it joins a new server. So, the first thing that it will pass us is guild. So guild is just the name of that server. Next is guild ID. Now guild ID is a unique ID, a numeric ID that is given to each server. Next thing it will pass us is a dictionary that will contain all of the members in that particular server. That dictionary will have the member ID and the member name. Next thing that we'll get is we'll get a dictionary that has the presences of each member. Say a member is offline, someone is playing a game, someone is, let's say, on do not disturb, um, someone is offline, away, do not disturb, playing a game. All of those, someone is listening to Spotify, listening to music. So all of those, they are presences, and we'll get that in a dictionary form, in the format of a dictionary, where we'll have the member ID and the presence of that particular member. The next thing that we'll get is roles. Now this is an interesting one, roles. So when our bot joins a new server, we'll get a, a dictionary of sorts that will have all of the roles that that particular server has. It will have the permissions that each role possesses, the color of that role, and all of that stuff, the name, the role ID. And so the dictionary would be in form of role ID followed by the name of the role and all the other stuff. So that's pretty interesting. We'll see how it does when it runs. Next thing that we'll get is the shard. So the shard just specifies which particular instance of our bot is on that server. And another interesting thing that we'll get is voice states. So now this will also be in the form of a dictionary, and we'll get the information about members, like which particular member has been muted by themselves or by server, or which particular channels have been muted on, and so on. The next event that we are going to talk about is the guild leave event, and as the name suggests, it is triggered when our bot leaves the server. So now let's see what is guild ID, old guild, and shard, that are the parameters, the properties of this particular event. So guild ID, as we all obviously know, is a unique numeric ID for a particular server. The old guild. Now this is something new. So old guild is just the name of that particular guild, and since the bot has already left that server, we are saying that it is old guild. It is no more a current guild. And shard, we all know that about it. It is the instance of our bot which is on that particular server. Next set of events are guild unavailable event and guild available event. So these events are triggered when the server becomes available or unavailable. Now, this can the reason for unavailability and availability could be uh, the server side issues with Discord, server side issues with our own bot, and so on. So, guild unavailable events that is triggered when a particular server goes unavailable, when a particular server is no more available to our bot. So, a bot passes on the guild ID and the shard, so we can know which particular guild on which particular instance is no more available. And on the other hand, when a guild becomes available to our bot, we'll get all sorts of information about that server. We'll get channels. Now, channels is again in the form of a dictionary. We'll have the unique channel ID and the name of the channel, and so on. Next thing that we'll have is emojis. Now, emojis, that's a new thing. So, emojis will get a dictionary in which we'll have an emoji ID, which is unique for each particular emoji, and we'll have the name of that emoji and all the details about that emoji. We'll see that later in this video. Next thing that we'll get is guild. Now guild is again the name of that particular guild, name of that server, guild ID, a unique server ID. Now members, again members is a dictionary containing member ID and name of members. Presences, we have already talked about those. Presences are statuses of the particular members in that server. It is also in the form of a dictionary. Roles. Now we'll get all the roles in the server again in the form of a dictionary, role IDs, and the name of the roles, and all the other details will be available to us. Shard, the particular instance of our bot on which is running in the server, and the voice states. We'll get all of that data each and every time a server becomes available after being unavailable. Now, guild update event and emoji update event, these are the two events that will come in handy the most, in my opinion. When you're working on a bot that is particular for just one server, these are the two events that will come handy the most. So what is guild update event? So each and every time you change the settings or specifications of your server, you are triggering a guild update event. Say you changed a few roles, you made some new roles or removed a few roles from your server, there's a guild update event. Let's say you renamed your server, there's a guild update event. Let's say you added new emojis to your server, there's a guild update event. So guild update event would be used a lot, in my opinion, when we're creating a bot particular for a server. Let's talk about the emojis update event. I'll come back to the guild update event and all the properties of it, but first of all, let's talk about emojis update event. I said that whenever you are changing emojis, you are triggering a guild update event. And yes, you are triggering a guild update event, but whenever you are updating emojis, create adding new or removing few, you are also triggering an emojis update event, which is more detailed, particularly about the emojis. So you can get a list, or you can get a dictionary containing the list of emojis that were previously on that server and a list of emojis that is currently on the server. So this is very helpful when you're maintaining logs and stuff. All right, so let's get back to guild update event. Now let's talk about the properties that we have here. We have guild, that is the name of the guild, guild ID, which is unique to a guild, and an old guild, that is name of the guild that was before the update event was triggered. Let's say I changed the name of my server. Let's say the name of my server was um, the bot testing server, and I updated my server to set the name to um, let's say let's say YouTube help server. So now in this particular scenario, we'll get guild we'll get the value of guild as YouTube help server, and the old guild as the bot test server. So that's what all this is about. Next, we'll get roles. Every time we are updating roles, we are creating a new role or we are removing a role, we are triggering this event. So we'll get a list of all the roles that are in that particular server. It will be in form of a dictionary that where there will be a key value pair of the role ID and the role and its permissions and sorts, obviously. Next thing, we have a shard that is common for all our events. So what does shard do? Shard obviously tells us the instance of our bot that is in a particular server. And last but not the least, we'll get the list of emojis. Every time we are updating our emojis, we'll get a complete list of all the emojis that are in that server. It will also be in the form of a dictionary, and we have already talked about emojis update event. We are getting emojis and old emojis that I've already discussed. Old emojis will be the emojis that are prior to changing your emojis, prior to adding new or removing some emojis. So that will be in the form of a dictionary. That will be emoji ID and emojis, and then the detail of the emojis as the key value pair. And emojis would be a dictionary of the current emojis in that particular server. I guess we have covered it all. Let's quickly test these. We'll run these and we'll see what all output we get and how do they work. All right, let's fire up our bot and see all of these events in action. So I'll just quickly go ahead and hit run Python file, and as you can see, the bot is ready. We have got some information here. Yeah, I'm not going to focus on that. And let's quickly go to Discord. All right, the first event that we are going to test out is the guild update event. Let's quickly go to server settings and we'll change the name of the server to, let's say, YouTube help server. And as soon as we save these changes, I want you all to focus on the terminal in the VS Code. Let's quickly save it. As you can see, uh, we have received a prompt, a print over here, which has come out. We have received the output from our guild update event, and as you can see, uh, we have our new server name that is our guild now, and we have the guild ID, which is like unique. We have the old guild that is the old name of the server, And we have this dictionary containing all the roles, and we have the shard, and we have our emojis over here. Now let us update the emojis. So I'll quickly add a new emoji and let's see what happens. I have one right here. I'll just upload it, and I do not even have to save anything. Let's just quickly see what has happened in the terminal. As you can see, a new event has been triggered, that is emoji update event, and we have right here with us the known emojis that are two of these. As you can see, the Kushagra Tech logo and Kushagra Tech watermark. So these are the two emojis that we currently have. Next thing that we have is our guild ID that is unique to our guild. And furthermore, we have the old emojis, which was only one emoji, and we have one emoji right here. And what's next? Let's see. We have the shard. Well, I have tested out the guild update event and the emojis update event, which is only 2 out of the 6 apparently. But as you can see, the guild unavailable event and the guild available event cannot be tested out unless it cannot be executed unless the server becomes unavailable, more or less because of some backend problem from Discord, or maybe from server issues. Like, let's say the bot is not responding and the servers are unavailable and sorts. So I cannot execute them out in front of you right now. And we have the guild join event and the guild leave event, which will execute when the bot leaves the server and joins the server. I'll leave the link down to GitHub for this particular part of this series, which will in which will emphasize on all of these uh, all of these events and their outputs and their data types. I recommend you to go and read that documentation out, and I'll also leave a link down to the Hikari documentation, the official documentation. So you should, if you can, you should also read that out. It's really great. It is really detailed, and it has each and every bits and pieces of information. You should check that out. That's all for today. We'll meet really soon in our next video, and I promise the next video will not take as long as this one took. So that's all. Peace.